Um, Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ali Ahmed. I took the initiative to write to the center and to share my experience and to share my knowledge after an incident that happened to me. And Abdulrazak, the director of the center, asked me to make a presentation to the staff in your monthly meeting. And so I'm recording this video so that I can share my idea with the staff members, the center. I hope even some of the members of the board were able to see this video. I want to talk about the situation with diabetes that's currently affecting there's a crisis, there's a diabetes crisis that's taking place that's affecting our society in general, and low socio-economic communities like the Somali community is actually also suffering because the nature of the disease affects us more. This might be seen as a medical issue and has been promoted as a medical issue, but it's also as much a medical issue as it is a social issue. And so the reason I'm making this presentation to you is because social component is very, very important in initially if you look at the causes of diabetes, as well as we need to go through beyond a medical model of treatment to a sociological solution, because part of this disease is sociological. So what are the social causes of diabetes, for example? Social causes of diabetes are: one, stress, particularly inequities, and these inequities affecting actually communities of lower income. So the level of stress that we experience actually promotes diabetes as an illness. The other sociological cause of diabetes is loss of community. The way society is set up here in Canada is tends to atomize the individuals and tends to isolate and structurally it's not as easy to build a community as it may have been in other countries that we may have come from. There's one exception that was featured in the radio one Saturday morning. Near the Pinecrest Community Center, there is a community that has a community oven, community garden, community playground, and all of this. I think that's an exception. Most of Ottawa tends to be very isolated. Individuals tend to be isolated from each other, and this isolation creates this loss of community has actually created some kind of a trauma to individuals, and they feel isolated, they feel atomized, and we see this translating into combined with stress and the weather, the winter, and all of these things, lack of opportunities for exercising, lack of free time, because we have to always constantly be working and constantly be sitting tied to a desk or tied to a place of work. All of this environment, all of this has created some kind of a toxic environment for us. for the person, the individual citizen. And this has led to this. These are sociological reasons why diabetes is so high. Plus, the high there is a high incident of in our diet. We have a lot of carbohydrates. So if you look at all of that combined, has led to, in Canada, almost 30% of the population has diabetes. And if you look at those who don't even know that they're heading towards diabetes, it gets to 50% pre-diabetes plus diabetes. So these are alarming statistics. It's a hidden sugar. It's a hidden type 2 diabetes, a hidden problem. So it's a hidden epidemic. I personally got a diagnosis in 2020, June of 2020, and I started researching everything I knew about diabetes. I started researching like crazy, and I found out that I could reverse it naturally. And so my motivation to share this presentation with you and to share this is based on my knowledge of how I reversed it. I would like this to be known in the community, to yourselves as community workers, and to the wider community of the Somali community. There are generally two models. What are some of the causes of the problem with diabetes? Is that insulin is high, and blood sugar is high after the insulin is constant because of constant eating, constant stress. Sorry, not constant eating, but constant stress. We have this high level of insulin in our system all the time, and after a while it stops being effective. So it creates insulin resistance, and insulin resistance leads to diabetes in the end. I will not go into the medical part of it because you can go and watch Dr. Jason Fung. He talks about the science part of it. I'm only interested in dealing with the social aspect because this is what is the relevant part here. There are two models to treat diabetes. There is the mainstream medical model, and the mainstream medical model is emphasizes a lot of drugs. Obviously, we are operating in a capitalist country, in a capitalist environment, and so emphasis of drugs pushed by the medical system, the pharmaceutical industry behind that. Profit orientation is top of mind for them. So that is the medical model, and every doctor you go to will give you drugs, and they will tell you you can eat anything you want, and then you can use these drugs or this insulin, so many units of insulin. Okay, that's one. The problem with that is it's like giving alcohol to an alcoholic and saying, after you have your alcohol, you can have these drugs and it will treat you. That's the issue. Okay, so that emphasizes drugs. The other model is to bring down your level of insulin. Dr. Jason Fung talks about this. Okay, before I go into the second model, the first model, you will develop diabetes. You have to manage your diabetes until the end of your life. So there's a lot of drugs that's sold to you. Eventually your kidneys are damaged and you have to go on dialysis, and then it leads to death. Okay, that whole cycle, I've experienced it in my family. Okay, where we had a family member who had diabetes, followed that model, took drugs, and eventually kidney dialysis and kidney failure and death. Okay, Dr. Jason Fung is a kidney specialist. He looked at kidney patients coming to him and he could not help them. He only comforted them to their death, and he started investigating what causes this. diabetes, what causes this upstream. And he found majority of the patients were coming from diabetes first, heart disease, kidney disease to him, and to their death. So the second model is what Dr. Jason Fung talks about, to deal with the root cause of the issue. The root cause of the issue is insulin resistance. So the idea is to keep your insulin down. So Dr. Fung says, if you want to keep your insulin down, fast for 14 hours, 16 hours. Okay, so that's fasting from the afternoon, 5 o'clock, until maybe the next day at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you have your breakfast or you have your lunch. It's a very easy model that keeps your insulin down, and you're able to have a window of where you eat for 8 hours. Fasting in the Somali community is very easy. We do it once a year. It's very easy to adapt our bodies to fast, and when we fast, basically we stop using carbohydrates for energy, we stop using glucose for energy, we start using body fat. Okay, and this is costs zero. Okay, the only thing is we have to fast to reduce our insulin. Second thing is, do not eat too much carbohydrates in your food when you eat meat and vegetables, or eat some kind of protein, eggs and vegetables, and that will keep your insulin levels in check. Other thing is, don't use industrial oils, canola, all these manufactured oils. Use butter, use ghee, use coconut oil to cook your food. These two strategies will help people reverse their diet. Three strategies: fasting, reducing carbohydrates, and eating foods that you're basically managing your diet. So why am I communicating this to you? Because I want the community to learn about this. It's really simple. You can go on YouTube, you can look at Dr. Jason Fung's videos to learn about the mechanics of how to do it. It's really simple. The solution goes to the heart of the problem. It doesn't involve eating any drugs, insulin and all of that. And if you have insulin, it slowly your blood sugar can come back and reduce your amount of insulin that you're consuming. That's all. Good luck in learning about this. I hope that your center is able to master this, or at least hire somebody who is a health promotional expert who can promote this solution to the community, because we already fast. All we need to do is use this knowledge that we have in our society, reduce our carbs, and we can avert a lot of health problems. That's all I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much. Bye.